And here we go, chess kids. Put on your seatbelts because we're about to have some fun. Wait a minute. Seatbelts are for safety, not for fun. Let's make some popcorn, chess kids, because we're about to have some fun. Chess kids, raise your hand if you like cartoons. Yeah, that's pretty much anybody. And if we have any moms or dads out there watching my video, you watch some adult cartoons too. What do all cartoons seem to have happen? Well, there's always somebody trying to set the other person in some sort of trap. Maybe they try to get them to fall into a hole. Maybe they try to get them to slip on a banana peel. But today, we're going to walk into the trap and we're going to come out clean on the other side. So when someone gives you a banana, we're going to eat the banana. That's right. Let's take a look first at a basic example in the Danish gambit. First, we're going to take all of white's pawns, and we've probably seen this before on YouTube. We're going to take all those pawns. Now, are we falling into a trap yet? Not exactly, but here is what I mean. These bishops are incredibly scary, and what I've taught you to do in the past against the Danish gambit is to give one pawn back by playing d5. Now, white doesn't want to take because you'll be able to trade queens and you'll feel a lot safer. Also, white does not want to take this way because it blocks the bishop's attack on your weak spot on f7. So, any player playing white here is probably going to capture, and it looks like a little banana peel has been set. If you develop any piece to a normal square, there's a trap coming. The bishop can actually take the pawn because the king is overworked. And when the king takes back, do you see how the queens would be lined up? Yes, you do, because you recognize that bishop would be a ghost piece. Oh yes, it would be gone, and we would lose our queen. So there is definitely a trap. There is definitely a hole that we might fall into. But guess what, chess kids? I'm actually going to tell you that it's okay to fall into the hole because, well, you have a parachute or there's a net at the bottom. I don't know what kind of metaphor you want to use, but the best move in this position is to play knight f6, trying to get rid of that really strong bishop. Now, if the bishop goes backward, we will very happily trade queens. The attack will be over, and we'll be up at least a pawn. However, you're thinking, but Fun Master Mike, we're falling into the hole. Bishop takes f7. Actually, it's not true. This is one of those times we can fall into the hole and we can climb our way out. King takes bishop is totally fine. And when the queen takes our queen, even though we've lost a queen, do you see how we're lined up with the queen? Yes, you do, because I just drew an arrow. We have to move this bishop to make a discovered attack on the queen. And of course, we need to give check with our bishop. That's the only move that ensures we're going to win our queen back. And the best move for white is to retreat the queen. That way white loses the queen, but at least gets our bishop in return. And after takes and takes, if you count the material, or even if you're lazy and you wait for me to count for you, it's totally equal. 2 rooks for each side, 3 minor pieces for each side, 5 pawns for each side. But black is totally fine, and in fact, I kind of prefer black here because our rook is ready to come to the e8 square, put pressure on this pawn, line up with the king, and I think it's a slightly easier position for black to play. Now I want to show you what happens if your opponent doesn't just throw one banana peel at you, but throws the whole bushel. That's right. In this opening, which is a weird one, it's called the Owen's defense, I'm going to advise you to play the move d4, taking control of the center, getting your snowplow. Now, when the bishop comes to the square b7, obviously you need to defend the pawn. Knight c3 is totally fine, but I'm going to ask you to play the move bishop to d3. Now, that does weaken g2, and you can see the bishop is lined up with g2, so some players here might play f5. That's right, they might do it because it looks like this pawn is pinned. After all, if we move the pawn anywhere, if we push, or if we take, then the bishop takes down here and traps our rook. So there definitely is a trap that has been set. But remember, we're not slipping on bananas today. Oh no, we are peeling those bananas and we're eating them for breakfast. In fact, we're going to have a giant banana smoothie. That sounds pretty good for you, actually. I'm going to advise you to take the pawn. That's right. It looks like we're being silly, falling into the trap. But remember, whenever the f-pawn is moved, the diagonal is weak. And here we go, chess kids. Put on your seatbelts because we're about to have some fun. Wait a minute. Seatbelts are for safety, not for fun. Let's make some popcorn, chess kids, because we're about to have some fun. We're going to play queen to h5 check. Of course, black only has one move, which is pawn to g6, and we're going to take that pawn to try to reopen the diagonal. Now, I'm going to show you 3 different occasions of this bishop taking the rook, and we're going to have fun no matter when the bishop takes the rook. First of all, if the bishop takes the rook now, well, then the video would end quite early. We would just push or take, and it's discovered checkmate. I'm not sure which one's prettier. Da-da-da-da. Let's go with that one. Boom! Pawn to G7. It's a fork, but it's also a checkmate. The queen checkmates the king. Very sad ending for black. We fell into the trap, but did we? No, I think black actually fell into our trap. Okay, let's go back. Let's say that black shows a little bit of restraint, a little bit of patience, and doesn't take, but prevents our pawn from going forward, which is a crushing move, and plays bishop to G7. Now, we can still play pawn takes pawn. Check. Discovered check on the king. The king only has one move. King has to go to the square F8. And now in this position, you could take. However, a little word of caution. If you take, the king will take back. There'll be discovered attack on your queen, and your rook will still be in danger. White is still better, but I don't think it's the absolute best move. We're going to, again, ignore the fact that our rook is in danger, and we're just going to play knight to F3. Now, what happens if the bishop takes the rook in this position? Well, don't have to wait that long, because I'm about to show you. Bishop takes H1. Now we're going to play knight to E5, threatening the queen and helper checkmate. The knight will guard the queen. And as I just learned very recently, the very famous grandmaster commentator David Howell, he doesn't call it the queen and helper mate. He calls it the kiss of death, because the queen is right next to the king, seemingly giving him a big fat smoochie, but actually it's a checkmate. So I kind of like that one, kiss of death. But I'm going with queen and helper. That's the term that we've always used on ChessKid. Now, black can actually stop it. Let's say black plays the move queen to E8. There's a couple of good moves in this position, but I like knight to G6 check. It's actually not the #1 computer recommendation because technically black can sacrifice the queen, but assuming black does not give us the queen and plays king to F7, now knight takes rook is a double check. What a weird double check. The king can go back to F8 to guard his queen, but now all we have to do is take that queen, and when the king takes back, we get a new queen. Look how fast she regenerated. Bishop F8 only move, queen F7 check, king moves over, queen takes, and this almost looks like a made-up chess position, but yet it's not made up. It's checkmate, and black really never got in this game. Okay, let's go back one more time. Let's give black one more smart move. Way back to this position. We saw bishop takes rook is not going to end well. Let's say that black plays knight F6, which makes a lot of sense. It tempos our queen, it gets the knight out of danger, and it looks like black will just take the rook on the next turn. But we just play queen to G6, hitting the bishop. And if the bishop takes the rook one last time, we have a new idea in this position. Here, knight E5 is actually not that strong, because in response to the kiss of death, black will play queen to E8 and guard the checkmate, and black might actually survive. So the strongest move kind of comes out of nowhere, a piece that we've not mentioned at all so far today. The bishop plows into H6, threatening bishop takes bishop mate. Not a lot that black can do. So black might try bishop takes bishop, but now we play queen takes. And if the king moves here, it's checkmate on G6. But if the king moves to F7, we force him back to E8 anyway. We play knight to G5 check, and this time, this is the most accurate knight move because it prevents the king from taking a walk. He's got to go back in his home. But this is one time where your home is not a very happy place to be. The heater's not working. You're going to freeze to death. Bishop to G6 ends up being a checkmate. I really love this game because black is trying to trap us as early as move 3, and we, quote, unquote, fall into the trap, which actually means we set up a bigger trap for our opponent. There you go, chess kids. Fun Master Mike likes to eat bananas, and I also like to be even trappier than my opponent.